Thank you, everybody, for being here. This is Boss Talks, episode 17. We have a great guest today, Irving Lopez Gallarza. He's a great guy. I've gotten to know him over the last few months. He currently works for Centerspace. He's fairly new to the company. He's a community manager with them. He's a committee chair for the Apartment Association of Southern Colorado. He also has his CAM, his CAPS, his NALP. He's getting his real estate license. He's doing everything. And he's working part-time because he wants to buy a house. He's doing extra things. So he's doing everything. But I want to join Irving to the conversation. He's a real boss. I would love for you guys to meet him.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Evan, thank you so
Yes.
much for having me. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I think you have a great origin story. I know you're like, I don't want to talk about it, but I think it's fantastic. You've been in industry for 10 years, which isn't a huge amount of time. It's
Sure.
a decent amount of time, but it's not a huge amount of time. But you have made great strides and great use of your time in the industry so far. 10 years, you've done quite a lot, I would say. But you got into the industry haphazardly because of not such a great reason. So I'd love for you to explain like your life lesson and then how you got into
Absolutely.
it. Yeah.
By all means, I'm not perfect. I so how I got into this industry, my mom was a single mom, so I was like college was not really an option, so I had to go right into the workforce. Junior year, I started working at a Popeyes, and I
Okay.
everybody knows me, I love me some chicken. But anyways, I was late one time and got let go of a Popeyes, and then one of my good friends at the time said, "Hey, you're bilingual, you're funny, and you're organized. They're looking for somebody in the office. Go and talk to them." And I'm like, okay, what is this leasing? To do apartments? What do I do? And they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, just go. So I went in there, and the lady was the regional at the time. She was like, okay, we're going to take you to the model. You're going to go in there. You're going to take a look around a few minutes and you're going to come back and sell it to me. I guess I did a good job because it was two of us and I got the job. So I was one in the office and the other person wasn't. So I got the job. I was a private owner, Colorado Springs. They're not in business anymore, but I'm here 10 years doing great things here in the Denver region. And,
Yeah, that's great. And that's really early. So for you to be able to land into this industry so young is even
yeah,
better. Like I
I
think,
was 18. So if you do the math, then that tells you how old I am.
hey man, good job.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Absolutely.
So before we jump into anything else, is there anything else you want to share about yourself, maybe your upbringing or things that
Yeah.
you've learned along the way thus far?
Honestly, I think one of the biggest pieces of advice I got from a previous mentor that I had in this industry is you need to think outside the box. But when it comes to Irving, there is no boxes. So I think that I've always taken that to heart. I really appreciate her, Erica. She was a great mentor to me when I worked under her. And she literally was like, you have no box. There is no lines for you. So then that's what makes you. And I said, thank you. I really appreciate that. And it takes a lot to hear that from somebody that is in your leadership. So I really do encourage everybody. Yesterday was National Coming Out Day. To be yourself. I'm a proud Latino gay male in this industry, and I'm very happy to stand up for the underdog. Like I told you the other day, I love me a good underdog, and I love me a good story of a survivor and just pushing through. And I think at the end of the day, we're all people and we're all
Yeah.
human. And I think that our industry is multifamily, but we are a family and family is in multifamily. So at the end of the day, we all got to take care of each other. It's a small world out there. Have fun and be yourself.
No, I fully agree. I endorse your message personally. One thing that you mentioned also liking to challenge the status quo, which
Correct.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan of that. In what ways have you done that? How do you feel like you've maybe pushed against certain
Yeah,
things,
I
even in the
honestly,
industry?
yeah, I think whenever I come to me, the big picture comes naturally. And I think that for me personally, I'm a proud millennials.
Way to be proud, man.
Yeah, I'm a proud millennial. Hey, technology is our friend, but for me, it's more of how are we changing, and how are we adapting, and how are we developing as professionals, as people, and how are we not only developing but also inspiring others. And I'm sure there's somebody out there looking at me right now saying, God, I want to get to be like him. And but not many years ago, I was in the leasing roles and the assistant and be like, oh man, I wish I could go to that event at AMD, or I wish I could not have to stay back. But I think my biggest thing, guys, is I always say, stick with it. This industry will take care of you if you stick with it. The small things do matter. And if you continue to push forward, I think that honestly, the opportunities are endless. And I think that would be the biggest piece of advice that I would give.
Yeah, that's great. And I'm glad you're speaking to those that aren't necessarily too far off from your age, even that if you persevere, if you push hard, if you just, another motto of yours is saying yes, right?
Yes.
So if you get an opportunity, saying yes to something, to learn, to try something new. So,
Try something new. It always has worked out. Say, encourage others. When you are a leader, when you're a boss, always put yourself in those shoes. I think all of us started out somewhere. We've all encountered great paths of career development and it's taken us different places. But overall, I think we all started somewhere and giving that lending hand and I'm here. I
right.
support you and I'm
Yeah.
listening or asking those why questions. And that to me would be one that I really pay attention to and that I just hope to inspire others to continue giving.
Yeah. That's good. One person, it was actually Steve Wunsch. He asked, "Are you still in contact with that mentor that you
Yeah,
mentioned earlier?"
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I serve on the expo committee, and Erica is our expo committee chair this year. Yeah, absolutely.
Nice. Well, that's great. It's always good to keep good people near you.
Absolutely.
All right. I wanted to get to the meat of the issue. You had some things that you are passionate about and really want to help shed light on or help people to see things as a way to keep people in this industry. Because I know right now there's so many people that are questioning whether they want to stay in this industry. They're burnout, they're tired, the pandemic did a number on them, whatever it is. They got some residents that aren't treating them great. That happens, right? And so I want to hear from you how you lead your teams,
Yeah.
how you your perspective through all those types of things that have happened and trials that can be endured.
So I want to start off by saying I have a quote from Brian Chesky, the co-founder and CEO of Airbnb, where it says a company's culture is the foundation for future innovation, and an entrepreneur's job is to build that foundation. So when I was reading this quote, I said, wow, the culture really does matter. And especially nowadays because of the future of especially in our industry in multifamily. And I think this can transpire to multiple industries, but just particularly multifamily. I think that when you think of innovation, I think the definition of innovation itself can mean a lot of different things. How are you innovating not only your teams, what technologies are you using to maybe operations? Now, how are we operating differently from, let's say, your competitor or from how is your within your company? How are you structuring your different departments? So overall, I think, and as an entrepreneur, I think when entrepreneur to me speaks a lot because it gives you the opportunity to be curious.
Mm,
Like my good friend Mo says, never stop being curious. Always be curious. And I think that really does transpire to the foundation of your culture, your where your company is headed, your associates, the vision. And I think that when you build that sense of transparency across those fundamentals, it really sets your company up for success. And I think that's all we're looking for. We're all looking for a sense of success and belonging.
mm, yeah.
So my biggest topics today that I feel like I narrowed it down. I narrowed it down to the employee, the associate wow experience, but I also talked about like the culture and how do we retain top talent, the great resignation. We're all living through the great resignation. And then overall, what are you doing to set yourself apart and what are you building with your company brand? And I think all of these four topics or five topics intertwine with each other.
Yeah.
And I want to bring it back to the multifamily space. And I think that's my biggest goal is learning how we engage and motivate and we COVID. I think that in itself, we all lived through it. Companies nowadays are having to redefine their way of not only engage our current associates from not leaving us, but how do we attract new associates to come to our companies? And I think overall, 96% of employees, based upon corporatechallenge.com, say it is very important to them for employee retention to be flexible. And as I was doing my research and all Forbes and the top 100 companies and everybody literally right now is talking about
Mhm.
flexibility in the workspace and how we define that definition of flexibility.
So when it
Overall,
so
yeah,
I have a question.
yeah.
So when it comes to, because I actually just did a poll on LinkedIn about flexibility of schedule and stuff,
Mhm.
and it was overwhelmingly, for the most part, people are like, yes, I want a flexible schedule. The people that said either maybe or no to that question were probably more leaning in your space of property management or more direct service. So how do you see flexibility of schedule working out in your space?
In multifamily, of course, we need on-site teams. We need people to be here to greet our residents, our suppliers. But at the end of the day, we gotta really think about 64% of employees recently surveyed with Forbes. They said that they work for now really has to align with their values, their passions. I think that's where we start off with what type of employee are we attracting or what are we trying to accomplish here to continue to get them to come to our company and keep them here and keep them engaged. So flexibility can be looked at different ways. There's the hybrid option. I know a lot of companies are exploring that option with a lot of different associates. I've seen companies where, for example, on-site team members, every 2 weeks, they have one work from home day that they can just completely work from home, or once a week, they work from home. And it really is more of the question of what's going to work for you, for your operations. And then my biggest thing that I really have encountered is there's so many robots, there's so much technology out there, especially in the multifamily space, is that how can I unload a lot of the workload on my on-site teams to potentially have somebody like Needlease or a chatbot, somebody to help us with some of the tedious things that potentially can suck up a lot of our leasing consultants or assistant managers' times, and maybe have that be more of an automated or technology driven matter where
Yeah.
they can focus on resident satisfaction, financials, or simply maybe having that work life balance or engaging them to be like, hey, since we have this now, you're able to work from home once or twice. I don't know, regardless, whatever it is. But
Right.
that to me is what when I was doing my research, I said, how can we use technology to our favor and remove some of that work burden on our
Hmm.
on-site?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's worth investigating and trying new things out, you know?
Yeah,
A lot of people said maybe. So I think those people are just, how would we do it? Like, how exactly do we tackle that?
I think it's more of being a good listener. A quote from Stephen R. Covey, the author of Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, recently said, always treat your employees exactly as you want them to treat your best customers. So, how you treat your best customer, which in our space could be anywhere from an investor group, from a development group, from our associates are also our customers nowadays, and then our residents and our
Hmm.
suppliers. Like we're all a working cohesion of people. And at the end of the day, one of the biggest things that I always say is we are in the people business. And being in the people business can mean a lot of different things. But overall, I think it's listening, asking for that feedback, and really engaging and being transparent with your teams, with your leadership. Hey, this is the challenges that we're facing today. Who knows, like we could ask a somebody fresh coming into the industry that maybe has experience from like the retail or hospitality. I recently recruited a gentleman from the bar industry because he gave me phenomenal customer service, and I said, oh my god, are you looking for a job? Here's my business card. I need a leasing consultant. And he recently started working for me. I think it's more of listening, always seeing an opportunity for success, and taking those risks.
Yeah.
And being engaged. I think that NAA recently did a great time to really show a lot of the companies that were at NAA and the expo and stuff like that really took their time to really show how to make a difference within technology, service, and overall operations. And I think that's what we're here for. We're here to drive our multifamily forward, innovate a new way of managing,
Hmm.
and I'm excited for the future, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a time, there's so much prop tech that's coming, optex around the corner. Our
Yes.
company will be there and uh, showcasing what we've got going on. And there's just so much. And now the big hurdle is, how do we get it all to work well together?
Exactly. And I think that it's going to be trial and error. It won't be overnight. It's not, nothing is overnight. But at the end of the day, I think if us as multifamily operators are open to the innovation, to the new way of doing things, and change is good. I'm a big
Yeah.
believer. I like change. Change is good. It keeps you on your toes. And honestly, the level of service from what it used to be pre-COVID to what it is now, night and day. I think that students are expecting on-demand solutions. Our associates want an answer right now. Our associates want I've had associates to tell me, I want my career path right now. And you need to tell me how to get there and what I need to do. And unfortunately, you're like you have those new associates and new people coming into the workforce, and it's going to set a different expectation to our leadership teams. And then, how do we as leaders prepare and keep the innovative process to our leadership team to continue to inspire those coming into our workforce?
Yeah. Would you say that when it comes to the Great Resignation, burnout, having flexible schedule, would you say helping people see where they can go
Yep.
in the midst of
Yeah.
it is a big helper?
Absolutely. I found out the flexibility, but also you addressing your employees' development needs. I feel like when people start not necessarily getting bored, but not being challenged
Yeah.
anymore, they start wondering, oh, what else could I do? So I think that and I've also been in the shoe of this person really doesn't do their day to day. Why would I allow for them to do other things? But it's
Yeah.
like maybe we need to go back into the drawing board and say, why are they not completing their day to day tasks? Is it something that as a company we have failed the associate? Have we not given the adequate training? Has our
Mhm.
training not been exciting? Like I was talking to my good friend Eric, and he is a director of training, and he pretty much said that he took a day long class for leasing consultants, and he has narrowed it down to 3 TikToks that he made. And he literally sends out these quick little TikToks, and literally all the content that it used to take him a day, now it takes 3 videos. It's funny, it's engaging. He gets lots of good comments, a lot of good feedback, and he got the message clear and precise.
Yeah.
Well, overall, social media is going to play a huge role into how we not only attract good talent, how we not only engage our talent, how do we praise our current associates that are doing their job and that are going
Mhm.
above and beyond. Because a lot of the things is, yeah, we're paying a lot of attention. Oh, we got referrals and doing this and like attracting new talent, and we're spending thousands of marketing dollars of why our company is the best and such. But are you really taking care of the current associates that you have, that because of them you're able to do the things that you're doing here in the future? And I think that going back to the basics of, are we giving a simple shout out? I know McKinney's here and he did a simple shout out for some of his property managers recently. Simple as that can go so far. So it could really make somebody's day. And it just, we all at the end of the day want to feel valued. We all want to feel appreciated. And I think that when you truly work for somebody or a company that can really engage you and really take care of you in that sense, then you're willing to work harder. And you're not looking to go anywhere else. And then in counter effect, you're having to not necessarily worry about attracting new talent because you're keeping your talent.
I think it's very true that sometimes when people underperform or start like going down a little bit, it might just because they're so bored. Like, I think
They're no longer engaged.
I don't
And
know what it is that has changed, but we're not in a day and age where people stay in a company in the same job for their whole life. That's just
I,
not going to happen for most people. Like, I see it still. Very it's baffling to me and surprising when somebody does that. Somebody that can stay in the same job for 20 years plus.
props to you. I'm like, props
I
to you.
yeah, total
I'm
total
like,
props.
props to you.
And it happens, but so many people that's just not they're not gonna do that. They
And
want to
especially in
know.
our industry, like because of post COVID and a lot of the different expectations that have come to us as operators, there's been so many room for opportunities for new positions. I've
Mhm,
seen multifamily companies come out with like resident experience coordinators. That specific job for that person is only to do resident events, social media. There's companies that have literally removed their leasing from being on site and it's managed through a third party or not third party, or even they have their own call center. And they literally, it's a call center more of a transactional, but their experience is all digital. They
mhm,
literally, it's just different ways of, and we go back to the same thing. We go back to being open, listening to the idea. Do you really see this operational change really making a difference in your company? And if it
yeah,
does, take it, do it, run with it. Why not?
yeah,
Why not? What do you
yeah,
have to lose? We could always go back to what,
yeah,
and I know like,
yeah,
and it can always be, and it's scary. It's scary. Some of our veterans in the industry, I love them to death, but at the same time, it's okay. Like we can do things a different way. And
mhm,
maybe I recently, I don't know, I think on Excel. I'm not an Excel wizard at all. I will tell you, I love Excel. I understand it, but and I literally one of my assistants was like, "You could do this," and I was like, "Oh, and it does it for you?" And they're like, "He was like, yes, it does it for you. Just hover over and then you just." I was like, "Oh my god, I learned something new." So trust me,
yeah,
out there, you can learn something from us newbies in the industry. They would say,
yeah. No, everybody. I think everybody has something to offer. Somebody younger, they've been around technology their whole life, uh, and it just comes easier to somebody that's the case.
correct.
So they definitely can help in that way, maybe bring a new idea because they just have exposure that's different. But Steve, he actually brought up just a thought.
Yeah.
I guess his company uses something called Hello Teams, which is, I'm not sure exactly, but we use Slack. It basically gives people the opportunity to give kudos and high fives virtually, so to speak,
Oh, nice.
and to say, hey, this person did a good job. And that's actually what we do. We have Slack channel dedicated to kudos. And
Okay.
so when somebody does a good job, we do a shout out, and then everybody's either comments or does emojis or
Yeah.
whatever, like in response to like lift them up, show that we all appreciate their hard work. So, you know,
Absolutely. And you know what? For residents, I order birthday cards and I make my team sit, like we sit around in the morning and we all sign our names on this birthday card and then we mail them out to the residents of the month for their birthday. And you know the feedback that I get from that is, and I don't want to really be the one to be like, oh, we gotta change and we gotta technology and that. Because some of the
mhm,
things that came with us from the basics, we should keep and we should definitely bring with us. But how do we revamp them or how do we reimagine? But overall, so we send out birthday cards and I used to work in the Colorado Springs market for when that's where I started my career. And we had a lot of like military families. So a lot of that was really our family's not here, nobody sent me anything, and they would just be so happy to get something in the mail from somebody that just goes back to people want to feel appreciated, people want to feel like they matter. That exactly, the basics never go out of style, exactly, but it's just how we revamp the basics,
mhm,
how we make them work for us now in the future. And so overall, like the little things matter, the
yeah,
attention to detail matters, and it's just about not change, well, revamping,
yeah,
being a little bit
right,
different, thinking
yeah,
outside the box.
yeah. It's really just repackaging things that they aren't necessarily new, but it's just a new way of doing it.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And it can or it can happen organically from the basics. And I think
Hmm.
that you can take your own spin on it. And if it works for you, it works for you.
Yeah.
So I think overall that's my vision. I think I'm a huge melting pot of ideas. I'm always thinking of ways how to do things differently. And some of our maybe veterans in the industry probably have already seen this and they said, you know what, this is why it didn't work for us this time. And then they can provide that feedback, that support. And that's why we all have mentors. I have many mentors in this industry that I will pick up the phone and say, hey, this and this is happening to me. What have you done? What has worked for you? And then I also have people that reach out to me all the time saying, hey, I see that you're doing this. What do you have to say about this? Or what's worked for you in this? And I'm really happy to be on LinkedIn and have grown my presence across the years quite a bit because I love that people feel comfortable to reach out to me. I had somebody from Texas the other day reach out to me and say, hey, I see that you're really active in the Denver market. Like I'm trying to get active in the Texas market, primarily Austin, Dallas. And I said, you know what? Just be yourself, go to your local apartment association and start attending the events. Because at the end of the day, you are a walking brand. And it's up
Hmm.
to you to sell your brand and show up to your brand every single day. You owe that to yourself. Yeah.
No, I fully support that idea because I am pretty active in our local association, and both myself and those that I see that show up, whether they're a leasing agent, a community manager, a regional, or even a vendor, the people that just show up and speak up and network and say hi, and like, you don't even necessarily have to spend a bunch of money to do all that. You just
Right.
show up. And
Just show up.
sometimes your company's going to pay for what you show up to. So it's like, why wouldn't you take the opportunity to get the education like you have, get certified in different things, learn?
Absolutely. I was very blessed when I first started with my first company that I worked for in the industry. Well, my first major company that I worked for, and a lot of great people have come out of that company, and I'm very happy. Griffith's Blessing. I worked for Griffith's Blessing for about 4 years. And the fundamentals that I learned with that company have really made me the person I am today. A big shout out to Sandy Thrash. Love her to pieces. She made me the manager I am today. She's in Boise now. But overall, I honestly I think coming from that type of company to like the fee manage, a third party own and manage, and there's so many different realms in this industry, but it just really makes you happy to know that you made a difference.
Mm,
And they allowed for me to be involved. They allowed me to, thankfully, for example, big shout out to the Apartment Association of Southern Colorado. When I was down there and being an advocate for them, I was part of their leadership Lyceum program, which I think a lot of the local associations now do and make you go through if you want to serve on the board or do anything like that. So, anyways, I was part of that group once and I got to write an essay of why I should attend the Assembly of Delegates. So, the advocate now, it's called through NAA. And I won. I won the opportunity to go and visit Washington, D.C. And I think for me, that triggered my career and just personally allowed me to, the big picture is awesome, but the little things that you do day to day also matter. But it just plays in each other because you don't want to lose sight of the little things that you do every day to get to the big picture. And overall, I've been very blessed to be with great companies and learn so many different things. I've obtained my NALP and now it's called CALP. I obtained my CAM and I have my caps and I was on the supplier side for a little bit for a few short months, tried that out, loved them. Not my forte, but at the end of the day, it's relationships. We are in multifamily. I read a book of Relationship Selling by Keenan, and I actually had the pleasure to meet him. And one of the biggest things that I got out of that book is back in the people business, but at the end of the day, it's how you treat others and how you engage and just maybe and maybe it makes sense to you, but the other person next to you might not make sense. And it's how you can simply don't turn your back on somebody just because they don't understand at that moment. Walk them through. They're gonna literally I've had so many leaders in my career that I like his leads be like, no, I don't want to show you. I don't have the time. And I know we're all busy and doing this and that. But at the end of the day, they took the time to stop to make sure I understood. And they were there to answer any questions and be that for somebody, be that resource for someone. I think that it feels good in your heart to be good. And I think that at the end of the day, we're all going to be good people. So be that for someone for sure.
yeah. Yeah, that's a great word. Irving, we're going to wrap things up, but is
Yeah.
there anything else you wanted to add before we get to the end here with some
Yeah,
questions?
I have all my notes with me. Honestly, I think if anybody walks out with anything from me today, it's just stick with it. This industry will take care of you. People are always there to have your back, and you know what? It's okay to be you,
Yeah,
and the opportunities are endless. And that's all I can say. Stick with it. This industry will take care of you. The opportunities are endless. Go for it.
yeah, 100%. And like you did, you jumped to the supplier side for a little bit, decided that's not my thing. And that's where I think also people need to keep in mind is there's so many companies, there's
There's so
supplier
many
side too.
avenues. There's so
And
many avenues. Like I honestly like I love the operations. Do I see myself being a regional in the near future? Absolutely, yes. I'm excited to build great teams. But at the same time, I want to do like I want to build, I want to be in the business development side. I want to be able to transpire my energy and be like, hey, this is why we should manage your property and build that experience for our clients and for future investors and so on and such forth. So it like that's like my long-term, short-term goal. But
yeah,
honestly, there's so many avenues in this industry: marketing, human resources, there's operations, asset management. Like you can do so much in this industry. That's why I say stick with it. You can be a leasing consultant today, you can be an analyst tomorrow. So
right.
stick with
Yep, exactly. All right. So, in the end, here, I like to ask three questions.
it. Yes.
First of all, we are Community Boss. So, our branding is about community. Yes, the building in our respect of managing physical spaces, but it also incorporates people. And so, the idea of building community is an important thing. So, Irving, how do you build community in your either professional or personal life or both?
Stop, observe, and listen. And the reason why I say it in that way, it's because we all can talk, but I feel like when you truly authentically listen to someone, you are not only are you allowing for them to express how they genuinely feel, and in return you're building kind of a relationship. I think that building relationship transpires to community, and I think that to me is will be the way I would approach community building. And just be friendly. Be friendly. I always walk into a room and bring a smile, and I always like to go to the person that maybe is sitting by themselves, and because I've been in that room where I'm then like, oh my god, I don't know anybody. But you know
Mhm,
what? Let me make a difference today
mhm.
and spread good karma, spread good vibes, good duties. It's a domino effect. And I think
Mhm.
that's how you spread, that's how you open the community, that's how you build community, just by
Mhm.
being authentically yourself. That's all
Yeah.
we can ask. Be authentically yourself.
Yes. So true. All right. Thanks for sharing that. And then we are based around community, obviously. So a great way to bring people together is around a meal. So if you were to bring somebody to your home, what would you cook for them?
I would definitely have some alcohol. So, everybody knows me. I love me a good drink. Definitely a wine drinker. But no, overall, okay. So I'm Mexican, so I was born in Mexico. So honestly, I think my go-to would be Mexican food, but I can also follow directions very well. So I would say, hey, let's build a recipe from scratch. And I feel like in and I've tried this in my professional and my personal life by cooking with. I think when you cook with someone or like you build that good dynamic or chemistry of you're doing it together. That is one that's maybe like a associate team outing. Go to the kitchen and build something together. That I've seen that happen before. But overall, my go-to, oh god, I can't go wrong with tacos and quesadillas. You really can't mess that up.
Oh man,
But
that's
I actually have a sweet tooth, so
okay.
I anything sweet I love. So cookies, build a cake, some brownies, whatever. So you'll probably bake something more than cook. I'll be honest
All
with you.
right. Nice. Whatever you're cooking, I'll have.
Oh,
And then final question, we're in the great state of Washington, Seattle specifically is where we're based.
never been. I've heard it's amazing.
And yeah, so I'm pretty sure everybody's heard that we have a coffee culture here. So I think just about everybody in our company has either worked for or been around coffee in some respect. Yeah, it's funny. But anyways, what is your favorite coffee drink?
So I'm a big coffee fanatic. I literally love coffee. So right now, my go-to is it's a skinny caramel or a skinny blonde vanilla latte
Okay.
because from Starbucks because I'm bad and I top it off with the pumpkin cold foam because I
Okay.
love pumpkin. So literally the other day I walked up to the Starbucks drive-thru. The lady's like, "Why are you getting it skinny? It defeats the purpose." And I said, "I don't feel that bad if if I get it skinny and then I can just add the pumpkin cold foam." And she's like, "Ah, you're right. It balances it out." And I was like, "Yeah, we're in the world. Everybody's trying to eat healthy and everybody's trying to work out and self-care and do all the things. But honestly, or my go-to would be a caramel iced macchiato." Oh, yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
But anything
Well,
pumpkin will do for now.
yes. Yeah. It is the season, right? So
Is the season.
you got to get it in. Thank you so much for being on the show,
Oh,
Irving, for being my guest on Boss Talks.
thank
And
you.
just like Irving and those that came before him, you too can be a guest on the show. You just have to say yes. So you got to have
Come give some love to Evan.